Some stories are shocking, so heartbreaking that they seem almost unbelievable. This is one of those stories. Imagine being just 10 years old, an age where most kids are playing, going to school, and enjoying their childhood. But for Sherry Johnson, childhood was stolen. She wasn't just a victim of abuse, she was forced into marriage with her rapist at the age of 11. This is the horrifying true story of Sherry Johnson, a girl who endured the unimaginable and later fought to change the law that failed her. Welcome to Daily Clues. Sherry Johnson was born in Florida, growing up in a strict Pentecostal community. Her life seemed normal from the outside, but behind closed doors, she faced a nightmare no children should ever endure. From as early as 8 or 9 years old, Sherry was sexually abused by multiple men, some of whom were deacons and bishops in her church. Her mother, blinded by religious loyalty, ignored the signs, and then the unthinkable happened. At just 10 years old, Sherry became pregnant as a result of the abuse. A child carrying a child. The truth began to unravel when teachers at her school noticed something was wrong. Social services got involved, but instead of seeking justice for Sherry, her family and church leaders had a different plan, a way to cover up the scandal. The solution? Force her to marry her rapist and silence the truth. Most people would assume that a child marriage in modern America would be impossible, but shockingly, it wasn't illegal. Under Florida law at the time, minors could marry with parental and justicial consent. And just like that, at the age of 11, Sherry Johnson was led into a courthouse, dressed as bride, and married to a man who had repeatedly raped her. Her mother signed the paperwork. The judge approved it. The state of Florida made it official. Sherry's childhood was over. Instead of playing with dolls, she was forced into a life of marital abuse. She wasn't allowed to go to school. She had to cook, clean, and raise a child when she was barely a child herself. She endured years of suffering in a situation she had no power to escape. For years, Sherry remained trapped in a nightmare, but deep inside, she knew she couldn't accept this fate forever. When she was 17, she found the strength to run away. She left the marriage, began rebuilding her life, and started speaking out about her story. But her suffering wasn't in vain. Sherry used to her pain to fight for change. For years, she campaigned against child marriage law, fighting lawmakers who claimed minors should be able to marry in special cases. But Sherry knew better. She was living proof of the horrors these laws allowed. Her persistence finally paid off in 2018 when Florida passed a historical law banning marriage for anyone under the age of 17. It wasn't perfect, but it was a step forward. All because one woman refused to stay silent. You might think this was an isolated case, one shocking injustice that slipped through the cracks. But the reality is far more disturbing. Between 2000 and 2018, over 13,000 minors were legally married in the US. Many of them were young girls, forced into marriage with much older men, often under the guise of parental consent. Loopholes in laws across various states allowed this to happen, and even today, in 2025, child marriage remains legal in several US states. Sherry Johnson's case wasn't just a tragedy. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that sometimes monsters don't hide in the shadows. They exist in a plain sight, protected by laws that should have been abolished long ago. Sherry Johnson's story is heartbreaking, but it's also a testament to survival and resilience. She took the darkest moment of her life and turned them into a fight for justice, ensuring that no other child would have to suffer as she did. But the fight isn't over yet. Child marriage is still legal reality in many places, and without continued awareness, more children could face the same fate. What do you think about Sherry's story? Do you believe the legal system had done enough to protect children? Let's discuss in the comments below. And if you found this story eye-opening, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Deadly Clues for more true crime cases that demand attention. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.